Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Melissa. I'm back with another blissful video. So, as y'all can tell by the title of this video, I dedicate this video to my mommy. I dedicate this video to my mommy because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, God just been dealing with me. He just been dealing with me. A couple of days ago, I was just laying in the bed, and he showed me in a vision. He showed me in the vision of um, on the day. He showed me in the vision on the day when my mom passed. He showed me in the vision on the day when my mom passed. He showed me what I had on. First, I just want to say, y'all, excuse the noise in the background. You hear any noise? I am in the basement recording. I'm right by the laundry room, so if you hear any noise, you probably hear the washing machine going. And then also my nephew's there over, so if you hear any noise, some kids in the background, it's my nephew, and then the washing machine is going. So like I said, a couple of days ago, I was just laying in the bed, and God, he brought it back to my remembrance. My mom death. He showed me what I had on and everything. How sometimes you forget. When it's a tragic event and you forget like what you had on that day. He brought it to my remembrance what I had on. Like I had on a long sleeve pink shirt. I had on this beige khaki skirt. I had on this black jacket. It was a black half jacket. And I was sitting on the porch, and the front porch, and I had my Bible in my lap. I was just meditating on the word. If different ones was coming over giving their condolence, I never forget my pastor came over and he was like, I want to pray with you. I want to pray with the family. I never, he just brought it back to my remembrance, because I forgot. He brought it to my remembrance what I had on, and I was sitting in the front porch. I had the Bible in my lap, and he reminded me, like, when your mom passed, you had this strength. You had this strong strength. Like, you was just real strong, And he's just like, where is that person? Like, where is that person that was sitting on the front porch with the Bible in her hand? Where is that person? I need you to get back to that person you was, when you lost your mom, you was just so strong. So as he reminded me of my, I'm sorry, y'all. I got both of the earpiece in. I want to make sure y'all hear me. So as he reminded me of that person, that I was when my mom passed, and I believe when my mom passed, I was at the age of, I was 29 because she passed away in 2009. I was 29 years old, and it wasn't long. I had just got saved because I got saved in 2007. I was 27, so 2 years later, my mom, she had passed away after I got saved. So here I am. My mom had just, let me rewind. Let me go back. As he was reminding me, I was just, I was in tears. I just started crying. As I was sitting writing my notes, I started crying, and he told me, he said, I need you to share your story. I need you to share your story when you first lost your mom due to breast cancer. So I'm sitting in the bed and I'm crying. I'm like, God, like, who wants to hear about when I lost my mom? And he said, there are some people out there, like, they need to hear. They need to hear this. Someone could have just, lost their loved one. They dealing with grief. They need to hear, share your story to let them know that, they will overcome it. They will get through it. So before I go into the video, share the story of my mom. So as y'all can see, I have on my t-shirt from the prayer retreat, and I might have shared this t-shirt in my video of the prayer retreat. So if you want to know, go back to watch the prayer retreat video, and you can see the writing and then what's on the back. But it say more of God and less of me. So in honor of my mom, um, I put on this pink t-shirt because pink is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this is why I put on my pink prayer retreat shirt, in honor of my mom. So, okay, y'all. So as I was writing my notes and, just thinking about that day, leading up to her death, I just got to writing my notes. And when I talk about my mom, my mommy, I can go on and on. I can write a book on my mom. I can write a book on her, the life that, the woman that she was. She raised 14 beautiful children. And me being the 12th child, the baby girl, so, but I was just writing. And as I was writing, you see this is about, man, I have like 7 pages here. 7 pages. Like I said, I can write a book. So, I was just trying to like see like it's so much that I can say leading up to that day when she passed. So I was like, God, you know what? If I could just read it, like if that's okay with with everyone, the viewers who's watching this, if it's okay, if I can just read to you, the person that she was leading up to her death, what happened. So I just want to start from the beginning. So I already told you in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you on, how I lost my mom due to breast cancer. So, I want to say this before I go into the details. Um, so October is breast cancer awareness month. So I encourage all of you ladies, all of you women, if you haven't got it done, go get your yearly breast exam. Go get it done. My doctor, she was like right on it. Like she told me, she was like, being that cancer runs in your family. Like my mom passed away to breast cancer. Not my dad, excuse me. My grandmother, she passed away to it was breast. No, it wasn't breast cancer. It was stomach cancer. Yeah, my grandmother had stomach cancer. So she said, since that breast cancer runs in your family, I encourage you, to get your yearly breast exam. So I got my breast exam. Like I believe it was like 3 months ago. I had to get my breast exam done. So, but everything was okay. Praise God. So, okay, I just want to say that if you haven't got, your mammogram done, your yearly breast exam, then I encourage you to go get it done. The sooner you get it done, the sooner, you can start. Like if they see anything, you can start, your treatment, whatever it is that you need to get done. The sooner you get done, the sooner you go get it done. So, all right. So, like I said, I want to read you guys. I would say it's more like a biography of my mom leading up to her death. So if it's okay, I just want to read it to you and study talking about it because there might be some important details that I might forget. So I just want to read to y'all if that's okay. And I just want y'all to know that if I get teary-eyed, I might get teary-eyed, I might cry because that was my mom. That was my best friend. And another person that encouraged me to share this video, the story is, I've been watching this YouTuber, her name, she goes by the name of, her channel is called Uplifted by Jayla. And I was watching her video and she was sharing her story about how she lost her mom, and her grandmother in 2020. And I was just watching her story and I was just so inspired by her story. I was like, you know what, Lord, you done already told me. So I'm going to go ahead and do this video. And today is October the 29th. So I didn't want this month to end without, making a tribute to my mom. So I'm like, I'm going to hurry up and get this video out. Share, my story of losing my mom to breast cancer. So without further ado, let me read y'all, about my mom. Okay. So as I was sitting here studying for my driver's ed permit, the Lord began to bring back to my remembrance the day I lost my mother. Even went into the details of what I had on that day, which was a pink long sleeve shirt with a beige skirt and a black long sleeve half jacket. So I'm sitting here all emotional in tears because sometimes in life, after overcoming a test or trial, in our life, God brings it back to our remembrance to help someone else that may be going through the same thing that I just overcome. So the Lord began to speak into my spirit. Share your story on losing your mother due to breast cancer. Someone needs to hear it. He just kept, like it just kept ringing in my spirit, like share, 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 share your story. So, um, share your story on losing your mom due to breast cancer. Someone needs to hear it. Just kept showing me. He just kept showing me a vision of myself sitting on the front porch, sitting on my childhood front porch, holding my Bible in my lap, as loved one comes over to give their condolence, to me to the family losing my mom. So here I am, all alone in my feelings, again, saying to myself, who wants to hear about how my mom died of breast cancer? The more I said that to myself, God just kept showing me myself sitting on the front porch with my Bible in my lap. So as I began to weep over the fact that He was showing me in my despair, when I felt so alone, but still He was there all along. And that is so true because I forgot, but when He showed me in the vision, like it let me know, like I saw you, like I saw you. I saw you in your despair. I saw you hurt. I saw you broken. I saw you sitting on your mom's front porch. I saw you, Melissa. Not only did I see you, I saw what you had on. Like he just showed me into detail. You know how many times where someone might say like, I saw you, but to really let you know that who He is, that He is God. He went into details like you had this on, you had that shirt on, you had that skirt on, you had that jacket, and you was holding my word in your lap. You was holding my word in your lap. I saw you. So if you think I didn't see you, I saw you, Melissa. And okay, y'all. So let me go back. Let me go back. So as I began to weep over the fact that he he was showing me in my despair when I felt so alone, but still He was there all along, carrying me through the grieving process. So here I am, obeying the leading of the Holy Spirit by sharing my story on how I lost my mom to breast cancer. So back in so back in April of 2009, my mother had begun to start feeling weak. She wasn't able to stand up on her own. She would always have these bad back pains. She also had problems with her food staying down. One day she was examining her breast. One day she was examining her breast. She noticed this lump on the left breast, her left breast. It looked like a boil, and like it was so small. Like it was so small, like on her left breast. It was just real small. And I never forget, like she called me in the bathroom. She was like, Melissa, she was like, come here. And I went in the bathroom and I looked and she showed me and I was like, Mom, that looked like a boil. That's what I told her. I was like, that looked like a boil, Mom. So she was thinking it was a boil. I was thinking it was a boil. When she showed my other sister was thinking it was a boil too as well. So as we saw it, and my mom, she doesn't like doctors. She doesn't like doctors, after being at the hospital when my dad passed away due to a heart attack. That just did something to her. She don't like doctors. So we was like telling like, Mom, you need to go to the doctor, get it checked out, and still she was like still waiting to see, like, she was like trying to put stuff on it, hoping like it was, it would go away. So um okay, so it looked like a boy at first. At least that's what my mother and myself and sister thought it was when she first showed it to us, until it began to grow bigger. Like I said, my mother was the type of person who didn't like doctors or wanted to go to doctors. She was a strong woman of faith. I truly believe that she was believing God for a health in her body. We all were, meaning my family, but God had other plans. So as the bump began to grow, causing her more pain and discomfort, my brother and some more of my siblings had a talk with my mother, telling her it's time that she see a doctor concerning this bump on her breast. She finally agreed to see the doctor after running some time after the doctors running some tests. They said if it probably was a boil. It probably was a boil, but it turned into cancer, which was very devastating. On top of that, with the family was told that she was in stage 4. Now, when I was going to school and we was learning about the different stages of cancer, and I learned that when you in stage 4, that's like the worst stage. That's the worst stage that you can be in. Stage 4 is that's because when the cancer is spreading through your body, like it going all through your bodies, your organ and everything. So I believe that's another reason why she was having like the pain in her back, discomfort, and all that. She wasn't able to lay down. She was sleeping in a chair. It's because the cancer was spreading like through her bodies. So, um, so we found out that she was in stage 4, and that is when the oh yeah, okay. So that is when the cancer spread all through your body. So at that moment, we knew then the reason why she was feeling weak, not able to keep her food down because the cancer had begun to spread. So my mother didn't want any chemo. She didn't want any chemo. She was still trusting and believing God for healing. So she told the doctor to just give her something for the pain. So they gave her something for the pain. Um they sent her home like with like week monthly supplies, like with like the dressing to dress the wound, like with gauze, and it was like this ornament, I had to put on. I would dress her wound, and I would put this ornament on the wound where like the 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 bump had got so big, like it was just real big, that it started, like, I guess it, like, I want to say like it burst, like it exploded, causing her left breast to be like it just looked at I'm trying to say how to explode. You know how you like, it just infected. It just looked like it was just so like it was infected. I just put it that way. It just looked so infected. But I would dress her wound each day, put the ointment on it. So so the doctor sent her home with like yearly supplies. Myself and my sister and my youngest brother, we became her around the clock nurse, because she didn't want around the clock. She didn't want around the clock nurse from the hospital. I remember when they said we could send you home with a nurse, and she told them, she was like, no. My mother, she was like, no. She was like, my daughter, she was like, she gonna do it. She told him, like, I was gonna do it. I was gonna be her caretaker, and so that's what I did. I was her caretaker. I would clean her wound. I would bandage her wound. I would dress her. Put like a gown on her clothes. I would wash her clothes. If there was like, things that need to be done for the house, like if we needed supplies for the house, my brother would take me to the store and get the things that we needed for the house, whatever we needed for the house. If it her meals, my brother would take me to go get whatever she needed. If it was what important things need to be done, like far as like financial stuff, like bills and all that stuff, I would go to my brother, and he would like take me, would pay the bills or whatever the case was. That's what I did for her. So I became her caretaker. I would dress. Okay, I said all that. Let's go back to the next page. Um. Okay. Okay. So, like I said, if it was like medication or something that she need, I would go get her prescription. Now, it was something about the medication. The medication that they gave her is like something like she didn't want to take the medication. I don't know if the medication made her feel worse, but she didn't want to take the medication. When it was time to take her medicine, she was like, no. Like, she wouldn't take it. She was like, mm-mm. She didn't want the medication. And so, different ones, like her friends, different ones, ministers and evangelists. I remember one of her close friends, like, they made like this vegetable smoothie for her, and then the ginger, they like made different remedies for her. They brought over for her to take because, she didn't want to take the medication. Um, so, So like I said, my brother, he assists me with going to get, the household supplies. And then, so my mother had 14 children. She had 14 children, and one of my brother, he passed away. So that made 13 of us. So as time went on, and the news started spreading to different, to the rest of the family that she had breast cancer. The rest of my siblings, they came over to the house, and they started helping out. They started doing little stuff around the house, sitting with her, doing all type of stuff. One of my brother, like, he gave her a pedicure, he did her toes. They just came over and, started, hold on one second. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm back. My nephew had a question. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so like I said, the rest of my siblings, they came over, they started helping out, doing little stuff around the house, helping me with, like, clean her wound and stuff. So 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 in July, so in July of 2009, my mom began to start losing her breath. I remember, oh my God, like, I remember I was at church. And I was nursing. On that particular day, I had to nurse that day at church. And my sister came to me and she was like, "We gotta go." She was like, "We gotta go." They rushing mom to the hospital. So my sister let my pastor know, and my pastor, they began to pray. So we left. When we got to the house, my mom was in the ambulance, and we just followed the ambulance, to the hospital, and we went to the hospital. I still had on my nurse uniform and everything, So I'm sitting at the hospital, and we waiting on the doctor, to come back, and they told us, like, she made it there just in time, like, she was losing oxygen. So we there, they had her there, and then they told us, like, she don't have long, she can die any day, she don't have long. So they had her there at the hospital, and while we was there, we was sitting in, like, the waiting room. And so then we was like, I think my oldest brother, one of my brothers, like, who was in charge of, like, her medical and everything, who he was the one, like, to make the decision, like, if they say, if we had to pair her on a machine or something, my brother would give, like, the final say, my brother or my oldest sister. And so then they asked him, like, can we get her to, like, one of my sisters, excuse, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting notification on my phone. So one of my sisters was asking, like, can we get her to, like, a cancer center, and then they was like, that stage that she in, trying to travel her to the cancer center, like, we might lose her on the way there, like, so it wasn't possible, that's what the doctor was telling us. So, um, okay, let me go back. So just in time, they said she was losing oxygen. She was losing her breath. They said she was losing her breath and she needed oxygen. So they said she can die any day. Now, while being in the hospital for 2 days, I was told by one of my oldest sisters that my mother had went into a coma. She went into a coma, and then when she woke up, my sister said when she woke up, two things she said. She woke up. They gave her, she ate. They said she did eat. They said she was eating some fried chicken, some macaroni. They said she worked up her appetite. She did eat. She was eating. And then she told them, she said, home. She said, home. She said, she want to go home. And then my sister said she started saying, like it was a song. She started saying, home, 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 like, take me home. And so she said she didn't want to pass away at the hospital. She wanted to pass away at home. And so then that's what they dealt. That was her request. They sent her home. And so then they sent her home with hospice care. And for those of you who don't know what's hospice care is, hospice care is like that's just like this it's like a hospital, kind of like a hospital, where it's like these people, they come and they there for like when your loved one's finna pass away, they sit there. Like they sit there like around clock and, take care of them like until like, they pass away. So hospice care came home, and I never forget like when they brought her home. When they brought my mom home, I remember they brought her home. It was like a stretcher chair, and she had this mask on her face to give her oxygen. And when she came in the house, like I lost it. When I said I lost it because I saw her. I'm like, when she left, she wasn't like this. She wasn't looking like this when she left. When she came in, she had the oxygen mask on her face, and she was like fighting. It looked like I could see her through the mask. Like she was just like, I believe at that time, like she was like blinking in and out. She was getting ready to make her transition. Like she was just she was like in the scratcher chair, and it was like she was just like trying to catch her breath, and I lost it, and I was like, what did they do to her? I was like, what? I went off. I was like, what did they do to her? When she left, she wasn't looking like this. I was like, what did they do to her? And so one of my cousins, she took me and she told me to go in the room, like you don't want her to hear you. She hear you acting like this. She know, like, you upset, you sad, So she told me to go in the room. So I went in the other room, I got myself together, and I came back in the room. When I came back in the room, like I was just I was just holding her hand, and I was like, and my cousin looking at me like, don't show no sign of, don't, whatever you do, don't show no sign of like sorrow or like, like just, don't let her see you like that. So I had to keep like a straight face, and I was just rubbing her hand, holding her hand. And I remember when I was rubbing her hand, I was holding her hand, she did like this. Like she was pulling her hands like back. Like, I don't know if you know, like as a newborn baby, when you have a newborn baby and you holding your baby, you playing with their hand, and they doing their hand like in resistance, like they doing like this. You trying to grab a grip to their hand, and they pulling back. So that's how she was. She was pulling her hand back when I was holding it, and so I told one of the hospice care nurses, I told her, and I said, why is she doing that? Why is she pulling her hand back? And she told me, she was like, that's, your mother better than I do. She was like, like that's your mother. You know your mother. And I'm like, yeah, I know my mom. I know my mother, but she have never done that. And so I believe at that moment when she was doing that, it was like, I really believe she was making her transition. She was like getting ready, like, it's like, I don't know, like in a way it was like, she's getting ready to cross over, and it was just like, I believe if I can, I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. Like I believe right then she was just like, what was taking place in her body was like she was leaving, like getting ready, like her spirit. If I can, paraphrase, like I believe her spirit was like getting ready, like like to transit, like to go up, like that's the best way I can explain it. That's the way I saw it. And so then after that, then the other nurse, he was like cleaning her mouth. He had like this it's the swab they use, and I remember when I had surgery and my mouth was so dry, and they will take the swab like to give you, and it's so nasty, like it's like a nasty feeling you get. But it was a swab, and he just kept rubbing her inside of her mouth to give her like moisture. Like another way I can put it was like Jesus, when Jesus was on the cross, and he said he was thirsty, and they had this sponge, and the scripture said it was like I believe it was vinegar. So it was like when he said he was thirsty, he needed something like moisture in his mouth. It was a sponge they put on his mouth, and that's the way I can see it. Like her mouth was dry or something, and he was taking this sponge to put, like rub on the inside of her mouth. So 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 after that, my my family, my seven loved ones, like we was just spending more time where we just in the room, just spending time with my brother, like different ones. They was coming in to see her, family, neighborhood, like all over. Like they was just, it was so many people. Like like my mother, she and the thing, she knew that many people. Like especially from the neighborhood. She witnessed to so many people in the neighborhood, and all those people that she witnessed to, they came over. Like they came over, and we didn't stop them. We didn't tell them like, no, it's too many of y'all. That's what those were her. That's what her wishes. Like she wanted to see them, you know. So we would let them come in one by one. They came in, they saw her, they would say like things to her, like Mama Johnson, we love you. We go, Mama, just say like encouraging words. So after that, let me get back to my notes, y'all. Okay, let me get back to my notes. Um, okay. Um, so let me see. Okay, y'all. I'm mixing my notes up, but okay, I got it. So I remember. So I remember the days leading up to her. She was. I remember the days leading up to her. She was getting ready to take her last breath. My god sister had went in the room. My god sister went in the room, you know, to spend some time with her, and she was, talking to her and stuff. And so she was like moving her mouth, her lip, like saying something, like she wants something, like it was something. My god sister was holding her hand. So my god sister told her, I think my god sister, she told her like squeeze my hand or something, like if you want Melissa. So she told, I guess she squeezed my god sister's hand, let her know like I want Melissa. And so my god sister told me, she was like, Melissa, your mom wants you. So I went in the room, and when I went in the room, I began to hold her hand. And when I began to hold her hand, right at that moment, like I felt the presence of God, and he just began to like speak words. He just began to like minister to me, and he was like giving me the words, encouraging words to say to her. So I was holding her hand, and he was like, tell her like she's going to walk again. She's going to walk again. She's going to be walking around heaven. So I was telling her, I was like, Mom, you're going to walk again. You're going to walk around heaven, And I was just talking to her, and the more that he was giving me the words to say to her, like, she was just, she was holding my hand, and I was squeezing her hand, just talking to her. And all I can feel, like, I just feel like this, like, I'm telling you, I just felt like his presence, it was just like in the room. It was just like, I just felt him just with me, like, And so I'm holding her hand, and I'm telling her this, and I said, Mom, the joy of the Lord is your strength, just constantly just saying the words that God given me to say to her, letting her know, like right at that moment when she's getting ready to make her transition, like just encouraging her, because I believe, like different ones, your loved one, when they get ready to make their transition, I believe like sometimes they might feel fearful. They might like, okay, this is it. This is the end. Like. So I believe at that moment, God was using me. He was using me as a vessel to encourage her, to let her know, like, you don't have to be afraid. Like, she's coming with him. You don't have to be afraid. Like, he's here. So, like I said, leading up to her transitioning, and I felt the Lord present in the room. Yeah, like I said. So I believe right at that very moment, God was revealing to myself and my mother that she was getting ready to make her transition to be with him. And he was using me as a vessel to comfort her during her transition. As I think back now of the moment, all I can say is God knows exactly how a person is feeling in their time of transitioning. And he will give that person comfort and peace to cross over to eternity, to be with him. I woke up the next morning to go check on my mother because I had this dream about a man carrying a woman out of a tomb. When I got to my mother's bedroom door, my brother told me she had just passed. I walked in and saw her looking like she was asleep but at peace with her hands folded on her chest. Um, yeah, so like I'm feeling emotional right now, y'all. I'm just feeling emotional. Just sharing this story, just telling y'all. So I woke up. like I said, I had a dream about a man carrying a woman. It's like he was carrying this woman out the tomb. And so I woke up. I'm going rushing to her room to go check on her. My brother's standing at the door, and he had this look on his face, and he was like, "Mom is gone." He was like, "She just passed away." And I'm like I didn't cry. I was just like sad, and I was like, I walk in the room. I see her laying on like I think it's the hospital bed, and she was laying there. She had her hand like this. Her hand was like this, but it was like on her chest. It was like this, and it was like she was asleep. Like it was just she was like asleep. And I went and I grabbed her hand. I grabbed her hand. I was just rubbing her hand. And then I was looking at her nails, and her nails still looked good because I remember I used to love to like polish my mom's nails. She used to always say, "Don't put no colors polish on my nails," and I'm like, "Ma, I ain't gonna put no colors polish on your nails." And I would put clear polish on her nails, and I'll polish her nails. So as I'm looking at her hands, and I looked at her nails, and I was like, her nails still look good. I'm like, her nails still look good. And I was just like, in that moment, I was just like, rubbing her hand, holding her hand, and I was just like looking at her, and she was just laying at peace, and I was just like, um, I was just like, okay, Lord, like you could have healed her, but you took her home because like after my mom after her death, like I went through this like breakdown. I went through this breakdown. I had a breakdown after her death. Like I was just like, different ones told me they was like, after her death, like I didn't, like I said, I didn't cry. Like being in that room, I didn't cry. Like I was just strong. I held it in. I held it in so long to after the funeral. Like after the funeral, that was it. Like I had a breakdown. Like I almost lost my mind. When I say I almost lost my mind, I almost lost my mind. I was just out of it. Like I was thought that like in my mind, I felt like, okay, she's gone when I go to sleep, and when I wake up, she's going to be here. That was what I was thinking. When I wake up, she's going to be here. And when I woke up and I went to that room, she wasn't there. She was gone. Like she was gone. Like it didn't hit me. Like reality didn't sit in. Like I'm not gonna see her no more. Like I'm gonna see her again. The resurrection. Like when we all leave here, I'm gonna see her again. But in my mind, I just couldn't comprehend that. Like she is actually gone. It took me a long time, to get over her death. I was just like, and like I said, I had a nervous breakdown. How I pulled through my mom's death was when my sister, one of my sisters was going to this prayer retreat, and instead of her going to the prayer retreat, she sent me in her place. And my pastor, my late pastor, he passed away. He told her, he was like, that was a good thing that you did, knowing she's going through what she's going through. That was a good thing that you did. So I went to the prayer retreat. When I went to the prayer retreat, it's like God, like he just made me over. Like he just performed like this surgery on me. Like he just made me over. Like I had peace. Like I had different ones. My sisters in Christ. One of the sisters, she told me, like she told me, like, your mom, she lived her life. She lived her life. Now it's time for you to live your life. And you live your life. You can't live your mother's life. You can't live your mama's life through her, through her shoes, but through your shoes, because I had got to the place where like I gotta be like my mother. I gotta do everything like my mother. I gotta do this. My mother did this. I gotta do that. And she told me, she was like, no, your mom lived her life. She walked this life. She lived her life. So now it's time for you to live your life. But you can't live her life through your shoes. It's time for you to live your life. So that was so encouraging. And so, like I said, I went to the prayer retreat, and after I came from the prayer retreat, I was this new person. Like I was at peace. I was at peace because God showed me myself. He showed me myself. I never forget. I had my first apartment. I was in my apartment and I was just crying and I was just got saddened over her death again. And I'll never forget, he told me, like, he said that you're selfish. He told me, he said, you're selfish. He said, because you wanted her here with you, but you didn't think about the pain and suffering she was going through in her body. You wasn't thinking about it. And I had to repent. I asked God to forgive me, and I'm like, God, you are right. So once I repented for being selfish, like that's when like the peace came in. The peace of her death, it came in. I was just at peace. Like, he gave me this peace. And then there was like a couple of times, like, like, because you're going to think about them. Any loved one, anyone that you lose, you're going to think about them. Especially like on holidays, their birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you're going to think about them. So as those days would come, I would get a little sad and I would think about them. So there was this another time where like God showed me in a dream and he gave me peace. Like, I was thinking about it. He showed me in a dream. So in this dream, I had a dream about, it was this field. It was just this open field. And then there was this, like, I would say, like, it was like this room, and there was a bed, and there was a window. And he showed me the field that you see is the field that you see, your mother, she ran her race. The field represents her running her race. The room that you see with the bed and the window, and the window lets you know that she's at peace. The bed represents your mom. She's at peace. And so when he showed me that, I was like, wow. And I was like, thank you, God. Like, whenever I'm feeling like real down and discouraged, like I'm really missing her. Like, he always showed me, he always give me peace, for that moment. Like, it's okay. Like I told you before, like, it's okay. She's resting. So, um, so, like I said, I went to the prayer retreat, and that's how I got most of my healing. Another time I forgot to share with you. I forgot to share with you all was when before I went to the prayer retreat. So, like I said, my mom passed away at home, and the room that she passed in, I would go in that room. I would go in that room, and I remember this a couple of occasions I would go in that room, and it's like I would see like this bright light, and it's like something would come over me every time I walk in that room. So I was sharing it with one of the evangelists at my church. Like, every time I walk in the room that she passed in, I feel this bright light is something. And so she told me, she said, that's probably the room that you're going to get your healing. She said, God is probably going to heal you in that room. And sure enough, that's what happened. Like, the more I went in that room, I remember a couple of times I slept in that room, with some more of my nieces. And God was just healing me. He was healing me in that room. So after that room, God, he's touching me in that room. And then then I went to the prayer retreat, and God just did like his, I would say he did like his final touch. Like, you got some of your healing in that room. Now I'm going to do the final touch. Now I'm going to do the final touch. That's when at the prayer retreat. So that's why I love going to prayer retreats so much. It's because whenever I go to the prayer retreat, like God, like he really does something for me when I go to the prayer retreat. So I just want to share that, and I'm trying to see in my I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything out. Um, um, okay, so I pray and I hope that to anyone that's watching this video, I hope I didn't bore you too much with this, sharing with you the story on losing my mom, due to breast cancer. I pray that this video was encouraging. I pray that it lifts you up. If you lost a loved one, it doesn't matter if it's your mother, your dad, your cousin, your sister, anyone, any loved one in your family. It doesn't matter whoever it is. I just want to encourage you and let you know that you will get over it. You will get through it. You will pour through it. So if you're saying like I'm not gonna make it, you will make it. God will get you through it. It's like I say, it took me like I would say like after 3 years, it took me like to get back to my normal self. So take it one a day at a time. When you're grieving of your loved one, take it one day at a time. Like, don't expect for you to get over that person overnight because it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. And like I said, if you need to go somewhere, if you know somebody, you need to go to a prayer retreat or something, go. I would say this: do not, if you lost a loved one and you grieving on, do not drink your sorrow. Do not smoke your sorrow. Do not do those things because all it's going to do is make it worse. I remember before I got saved and I was going through different things, I would try to drink my pain away, and then all it did was made it worse. So, like I said, if you lost a loved one, don't try to drink away your sorrow. Don't try to smoke away your sorrow. Don't try to go out and fornicate. Don't do it. Don't try to do all those things thinking that it's going to ease your pain. The only thing that's going to help you get over the hurt and pain is you um, falling on your knees, crying out to God, say, Lord, this hurt. This is hurting me. I need your help. I need your help getting over the death of my mother, getting over the death of my father. Whoever your loved one is that just passed away, I would encourage you to just fall on your knees, surrender to God, and ask God to help you to get over the death of your loved one. So, I pray that you guys was blessed by this video. It was encouraging. I hope it wasn't too long, but like I said, she was my mom. She was my mommy. She was my everything. She meant a whole lot to me. So I dedicate this video to my mom, Lou Doris Johnson. Yes, so love you, mommy. Rest in heaven. Rest well. So until next time. Oh, before I end this video, I got some scriptures that I'm going to leave down in the description down below. Some scriptures that it really helped me a lot when I'm going through, and that's Philippians 4:7 on peace, and then one of my favorites is John. One of my favorites is John 14:1 and 4. So until next time, it's your girl Melissa. Be blessed in Jesus.